All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the only official place. So I know you're all pirating these live streams for Saturday Weekly today. For those of you guys, what I've for maybe seeing this first time, what I basically started doing a month ago was every Saturday I wanted to start having a start having a live stream so that I can answer questions. We're still going to be doing the ones for the every 1,000 subscribers that we do. I like those as well. I like live streaming, to be honest with you. It's not the best thing for the channel. They don't do very well oftentimes, but I think they provide a lot of value for the subscribers. I used to do a little bit of Twitch back in the day, and it's somewhat familiar. Today, we're going to be talking about, well, I'll answer any of your questions, but I have recently learned how to build Chrome extensions, which is kind of cool. And that will be one of my first, if not the first course I put out. I'm still working on how to start a coding channel course, but the Chrome extension course, I have 3 of 5 projects that I want to build. I'll actually have a video on the channel. I've been talking a little bit with Brad from Traversity Media, and for a while he's been telling me, hey man, if you want your channel to grow, you should probably do tutorials and things like that. And it's just something I enjoy doing anyhow. So I'll be releasing a quick tutorial on how to get started. It's probably going to be 2 parts. The first one's going to be breaking down the basics of Chrome extensions, what to expect, what files you have to include, what the bare bones minimum it requires to get a Chrome extension, how to load it and test it. And the second part will be a more detailed. We'll build a model project. So as of right now, for my course, I have 2 projects built for that. Really 1. I started building the second one, but it's almost there. I want to have 5 projects for the course and then 1 for the channel. To give you an idea of what I'll be building, the first one I built at work to teach myself how to build Chrome extensions, because I have a Chrome extension I'm going to build for work in a side project. But that was basically a customized error message. So what you'll do is you'll install the Chrome extension, and then right now it's injecting a coding meme, like a single coding meme, but it also will allow you to customize your error message, or I'll inject it so that your error message, when you get a 404, will give additional data as well. Not something that you always are going to want to do, but at the very least, the bro, do you even know how to code meme might make you smile a little bit when you get an error. So that's a basic example of a project, but a good one to introduce you to a lot of different aspects, such as when your Chrome extension loads, how to connect your Chrome extension. The other one was suggested by a user in the Facebook group. If you guys aren't a member of the Facebook group Code Tech and Caffeine, there should be a link in the description below. If not, just search for it on Facebook. We're about 4,000 members strong right now, and growing by a few a day. And I encourage you to check that out. Great place to get, Dylan dropped a new video, or see what's going on in the coding space. A lot of people share their projects and get help that way. But yeah, so the other projects for the Chrome extensions that I'm going to build is a bookmarks sorter. So we're going to interact with your bookmarks in the browser, and we're going to display those bookmarks in a Chrome extension that you can then search for, which will teach you a little bit of working with the browser and the Chrome extension. Now, the third one that I have figured out is actually going to be that I started working on today, is going to, every time you open your Chrome browser, it will actually display a coding tip of the day. And so it's going to showcase. This man's very aggressive in chat, telling me to fuck off for some reason. But I'm not quite sure what I've done, why he is so passionately against Chrome extensions. But hey, so the third one will be actually a coding tip. So when you open a new tab, in the blank tab, I haven't decided. It's going to be one of 2 things. Either when you open a new Chrome browser, it will display a tip one time, or you could click click the icon and it will display a tip. Or what I'm leaning towards is when you open up a new tab, in the center of your tab, it will actually inject a new coding tip. Like, did you know that, X, Y, and Z is true about JavaScript, but not about Java? Or did you know that TypeScript is made by Microsoft? So I'm actually going to probably initially hard code those into there, probably 100. And then for a future project, I'm going to build a backend database, probably in Firebase and maybe MongoDB and Node. We'll see what I build. But in the future, in a separate project, we will build the backend so that instead of just circling through the first 100, we'll build a backend where a user can update those and add their own and stuff like that. Or I'll add my own to my own API. So yeah, the angry guy's probably an IE dude. I'd be angry too if I was using Internet Explorer. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd be angry all the time. So today, guys, if you have any suggestions, I'm looking for about 2 or 3 more Chrome projects, Chrome extension projects that I can build. I want to have my course have 5 projects for the Chrome extensions. I think that's a solid amount. And the thing about building Chrome extensions is a lot of it is working with the library, the API. Will be love working with the API will be the hardest part. The rest of it will be JavaScript and HTML. Casey, welcome. Roxas and the Mastil and Shinehan, welcome. So the Mastil says, in my opinion, I think YouTube coding channel tutorial. I think he's saying my channel. Lack of mid projects. By that I mean not basic and not very hard. Yeah. So I mean, one of the things that I plan on releasing are more detailed tutorials. I've always been afraid of investing the time, effort, and energy. But if I'm releasing it in connection with Udemy and putting it on Udemy, it makes it a lot more worth it. And right now, so part of the reason for this is your boy's saving for a house, for some rental property. He's trying to become John Sonmez Jr. over here. Speaking of which, I gotta get John on here so I can ping his brain a little bit. But I'm trying to buy a house, so I'm working on courses. I'm working on books, all that sort of stuff. And I am looking to basically just build some courses that can provide value and get it. And the Chrome extension is something new that I've learned, that there's not too many courses on it. And I think you could build some cool portfolio projects. And a lot of what I'm going to leave you with in these projects, it's not going to be an example of laziness, and it may come off that way. But we're going to build functionality that can be built upon, and so that you can go and continually to customize this product. So a good example would be the Chrome extension that displays the JavaScript stuff. You could actually go and build your own backend for that and update it and maintain it, and you'll have access to all the code. Or the bookmark aspect. Maybe you'll want to create groupings and customize that. And so I'm going to leave you at each one of these projects with multiple suggestions of how you could go and build upon that, which I think will be kind of cool, because that way you can. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when I've done courses in the past, my biggest thing is that they're not complete. They are complete, but that there's nowhere else to go with them, and they provide like a lot of times it's introduction to languages and things like that. And what I want you to build are tools that you'll actually use and that you can go and continue to build upon to continue your own learning at the end of the course. And that's one of the things that I'm going to kind of emphasize. And I'm going to actually give suggestions as the last video for the course. Okay, this is what direction you can go in. Here's a few ideas just to get the juices flowing. Kind of like my most recent video where I gave 29 side project ideas. So the Chrome extension is very close to what I am saying. My suggestion is to try to make it with as less frameworks as you can. Yeah. So you can't really not use the Chrome extension API for this, but the bulk of the JavaScript and HTML, I'm going to try to stick to vanilla JavaScript. One, because I want to get better, and two, because I want to. It's going to be a lot more focused on the Chrome API than it will actually be on the JavaScript. Although we're going to need the JavaScript because that's how you Chrome the functionality for all this sort of stuff. But it's also going to be a course that I can make, and I now that I understand the basics of it, I can make these projects and get going here relatively quickly. So, and expose you to a lot of the API in the process. So today, guys, if you have any suggestions, I'm looking for 3 more projects. So I want to do one for free for the channel that breaks down how to start building a Chrome extension, and 2, I want to build I need 2 more projects for the course so that I can have value. I think 5 projects is a good amount for this type of course. You know, if it was like an Angular 4 course, there'd probably be 2 because I think Angular takes quite a bit of development time to set up, to build, and all that sort of stuff. A chat bot, huh? AI-driven extension. You guys are throwing out some complex stuff here. Make a bookmark on the tip. Suggested web pages. This might not be a bad idea. People are big on this web scraping idea. I'd have to learn how to build something like that, but that's not a bad idea. I've been learning front end from Team Treehouse. I know some JavaScript, jQuery, but the problem is running into it as putting it all together, build something. Is that normal? It's completely normal. If you aren't coding every day and you're going to struggle, even if you are coding every day, you're going to struggle. It's hard sometimes to say, okay, I have this nail and I have this hammer, and now how do I use the two together? How do I do that? And sometimes it's just practice and consistency is the main thing. If you're not coding every single day, and I don't mean 6 out of 7 days, I mean every single day for hours, it's always going to be hard. But you'll get past it. You just have to put in the time. So, and when you get past wherever you're at with the JavaScript and jQuery, you'll move on to Angular, you'll move on to React, you'll move into all these sorts of things. And it's a slow grind, but you'll get there. What's the deal with the smoke? So this is just my essential oil diffuser. That's the deal. Nothing too crazy. It's just something I like at my desk. It helps me enjoy myself. Hey, Davide Cota, welcome. Am I working from home today? I am not. Well, I'm at home. I'm in my office. Today is Saturday. April and I went looking at a few open houses just to kind of see the market and see the area. I showed her where I worked because that's probably where we'll be buying. We did that today, and today's Saturday, and I do my Saturday streaming. When I'm done with this, I'm going to continue to build some of the Chrome extensions that we talked about. Let's see here. What technologies am I currently working with in my day-to-day role? Mainly Angular 4. I'm doing a lot of front end. I got hired for a front end role. So that is basically what I'm working with is Angular 4 on a daily basis. I should just say Angular. All the other Angular legit guys are gonna be saying amen. You need to mini Dylans. Ain't no mini Dylans coming up in this until house number 2. We gotta get house number 1 first. So the only mini Dylans are gonna be little furry ones with tails called cats. All right, that's the only mini Dylans. And we can have as many of those as we want. Right now we have 3. So it's we gotta be doing that. So I might have some Angular 4 tutorials coming out. It'll be the oops Dylan's. Oops, I did it again. I forgot to pull. No. But yeah, so some of the more technical tutorials that will be coming out is I'll be releasing 2 videos. One talking about what TypeScript is, just sort of a general with the general example, and also be breaking that down. And then also have an Angular 4 tutorial coming out. I'm going to try to mimic some of Brad's success and try to follow some of his stuff because I like his format, and I think he's doing an excellent job. And it'll just be my own tutorial, but in a similar form. I'm even going to steal his PowerPoint swag. Dylan, do you think that would be all right for me to show assessments from employers that didn't hire me on my YouTube channel? Can you elaborate a little bit about that? Because there's a situation where that's a yes, and there's a situation where that's a no, but I need to know a little bit about that. You should probably focus on one or the other. Do you use TypeScript at work? Yes. Angular 4, not exclusively, but you pretty much only use TypeScript with Angular 4. I mean, TypeScript and JavaScript, but TypeScript is primarily used with Angular. Yes. I use it on a daily basis. And TypeScript's great, man. I've been loving it, man. I've been loving Angular. So I got nothing but good things to say about Angular. I will say that sometimes it took me a solid 2 weeks to get comfortable writing Angular, and now I feel up to speed. That's what I'm trying to say here, people. Up to speed. So I'm about to turn in my first real project. I can't really talk about what it is, but we're up and running. So I would say that's okay. So like, let's say that you had, if I understand your question correctly, JJ Smith, that you have some employers that gave you skills tests that did not hire you based off those skills tests, but you want to take those skills tests, show your code, maybe clean it up a little bit, and then from there, make sure that you're doing a video breaking down this test and how you solved it and why you solved it. If that's the case and you don't name the employer and you go from there, I think that's perfectly fine. But you really have to make sure that you don't name the employer. Let's see here. Do you watch any shows, TV on your free time? I watch some anime. I was watching My Hero Academia. It ended. I watched some YouTube channels, mainly software ones and news ones. And I also watch Dragon Ball Super, which we get a 2-hour special tonight, boys. 2 hour. Do I watch my own videos? I do. So every time I throw out a video, I rewatch it before I put it out so that I make sure that it's something that's appropriate to put out into the world. The 2 times where I've kind of let there's been 2 out of about 700 videos I have out. There's 2 of them that are on the more controversial side that come to mind. That would be the Code Babes video, as well as the Google engineer, who I'm forgetting his name right now. I've also, so I've watched Dark Matter season 1 and season 2. I don't think season 3 is out yet. Occasionally, when a good sci-fi series comes out, I'll pick it up. You know, I watch Game of Thrones as well. So I'm big in anime and sci-fi fantasy stuff. All the sort of dorky genres that you would make a stereotype about what a developer would watch. I fit every one of those. So you can make an assumption based off that. Do you have a university degree or self-learn? I do not have a university degree. No, I do not. How do you choose what to work on next, like React or Angular? Like you start working on one and find the jobs that are hiring for the other. It depends what your current skill set is, but generally speaking, I just would look in my area and see what's going on, and then I would learn that and make sure that there's jobs and that it's in demand. That really is all that's to it. And if it's a bunch of things, you got to learn a bunch of things, right? 3's on Netflix. Hey, why you got to tell me these things, bro? Yeah, I might have to check that out now. You got a fat 1.1% raise. Hey, time to look for a new job, bro. Do I know any portfolio templates? Yeah, man. If you go to startbootstrap.com, that's a free template site that I've used in the past. That it just has a bunch of different sort of templates. I'll throw the link up in chat, and you can check it out. They're all free, and you can see some templates. Start Bootstrap. I threw it up in chat there for you guys. I also need to put in some work for my book that I want to write. I have a book that I've been talking about writing, and I've wrote my first section, but I want to continue. I need to actually sit down and write one chapter a week. That is my goal. One chapter a weekend, I should say. And I'm starting that tomorrow. I should start today. Yeah, hey, you guys, I've told you the 5 things that you need to land a job as a web dev. Portfolio was one of them. LinkedIn, GitHub, all that sort of stuff. But portfolio is one of the top, one of the stronger ones. I encourage you to have that. That looks like a different mic. No, it's the same mic. I just actually have it in front of my face instead of off to the side. So it might sound a little clearer. So Henry says, hey, I started doing code fights. How would you add this to your resume under like side projects or something? Well, 2 things. You could do what I did, which I throw it up on GitHub, and I have a README file for each one of these. Let me actually see if we can, I'll show you an example here. Let me pull it up real quick. So you can do what I do, which I encourage you to, pad your GitHub a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. So let's see our code fights, and let's go ahead and switch this to here. So you'll see here on code fights that I have a repository called code fights, and then in each section I have various, like you'll see here I have a little README file. But if we actually go into an actual algorithm, I don't know, we'll do shit, I actually need to break this up, but you'll see here I have the algorithm, and I also have the video linking to it, as well as this. But basically I have all my stuff up on all my solution up on here. I probably should actually break these up into folders so that it makes more sense. But this is one thing that you can do. And another thing that you can do after that is you can put in your side projects your level, as well as a description as to what it is, how many algorithms you solved. Maybe codefights.com dash, and then you'll see rank, put rank, and then that. And what that basically does, and a small like 1-sentence description underneath there, it starts a conversation when you get started. Like, and then you can elaborate and sell it that way. No, drop the chalupa. You can have it on your same site and just have a portfolio page. I see your StarCraft shirt. Have you been playing on StarCraft Remastered? So Compendium, I don't play games anymore for the most part. I'm in let's buy property and save for the future mode, so I try not to. I did buy a Super Nintendo Classic, and I have put in about 3 hours in the last week or so into Super Mario RPG, which is a lot for me. So when my videos are encoding and I can't use my videos, I'll sit down or can't use my computer for the most part. I sit down for 20, 30 minutes to play on there. But I try not to play games anymore that don't have definitive endings, like StarCraft and League of Legends. I want a game that has an ending so I can stop playing it. So I stay away from that type of stuff. How challenging do you consider these code fights? Some are very challenging, some are not. I would say for most people who are just getting started, they're going to find code fights pretty challenging. If you're looking for some algorithms to get started on, Free Code Camp is probably a better solution for most people. Any teeth updates? Yeah, man. So every month I get an adjustment on my teeth, and that basically just means they put in they tighten this up. So I am about 3 months from having these off. It was the braces I had on it was for 10 months. So we're about 6 to 7 months in. So about 3 months from now, I will be have these off, and I'll get my teeth whitened. I'll look like a little pretty dorky boy, and I'll have my retainers, so I won't be that pretty. But yeah, so about 3 months from now, the braces will be off. And that also means that I'll stop paying a $170 a month bill, which is more money for saving for a house. What do I think about the Web Developer Bootcamp course by Colt Steele? I think that it's probably a little bit outdated, but I think it's very helpful for a lot of people, and you get a lot of value for it. But it's not going to be your only learning resource, as nothing is. But I would say that most people tend to enjoy it, but we'll say by the end of it, they need to go pick up some other stuff as well. What languages would you need to start code fights? Well, they have 40 different ones on their site. So pretty much any language that you want. And we can pull it up. What type of interview questions were you asked for a job? I can't actually say. It's not appropriate for me to answer that. Now, I personally have no issue with it, but as an employee, I think that it's not something they would like me share. I don't think that I actually know that, because I recorded so this is a video that won't go out, but it's a very good video, so I'm kind of sad about it. So I recorded a video 30 minutes after I interviewed for them in the first place, and I had a mock technical interview. And before we dive into this, let me show you what languages they have. So you'll see here. So this is an example of code fights. You can see these are all the languages they have here. So you have Clojure, CoffeeScript, JavaScript, Java, whatever Smalltalk is, Scala, Ruby, Rust, Visual Basic, even TypeScript, which seems kind of strange. But OCaml. So there's a bunch of languages that you can actually do these in. So you can do it in whatever you want, Dart, D. So you having a language barrier in terms of programming language isn't going to be one of them. So, but yeah, so I can't say what my interview process was, but I did record a video 10 minutes after I interviewed with them and going over it. And it's a very good video, but it won't ever go out. So, how long will it take after I complete Free Code Camp to get a job? That's really up to you. It depends on what you're doing outside of Free Code Camp. If it's your only resource, it's probably going to be a while. If you're doing YouTube, you're doing Udemy courses, you have side projects, you have a great LinkedIn, you have a great resume, you have a great GitHub, you're doing all the things that you need to be doing. It just depends. I could tell you that I got my first programming developer job before I finished Free Code Camp. So it's all relative. No, I've never thought about picking up Perl. I'm pretty much going to be sticking in the JavaScript stack and maybe picking up some C# for the back end. That's kind of where I'm at right now. What's your favorite kind of food? The only correct answer to that question is cheese. Cheese is the best type of food there is. So everything else is an incorrect answer. So let's just get that out the way right now. Now we can disagree about what type of cheese. That's okay. But the correct answer is cheese 100% of the time. So do you know anyone that specializes in Java? I know people who work in Scala and Java. Java was what I basically was my my first. Yeah, don't forget the salt, right? Java was my first programming language. It is a very popular programming language. It is one of the ones that are taught by a lot of colleges. Now, if you do learn Java, you're most likely going to be working for a large multinational corporation because that's what they love. But yeah, so people do work with Java. A lot of people. Kevin Cho in chat works with Java for quite some time. When did you leave Free Code Camp? What do you mean leave? When did I leave it? I'm not an employee of Free Code Camps. I am not a. But yeah. Any thoughts on SQL? So I've used MySQL, which is kind of offshoot of SQL, which is pretty common. Is it commonly used? Yeah, people use SQL all the time. It's relational databases. If you're doing development, you don't need to be the best with this sort of stuff. But if you're doing data analytics or you're a data scientist, you obviously need to be better. But like for me, at my last role, I did MySQL and I could create databases, I could join tables, I could update columns, update rows, all that sort of stuff. Mongo versus MySQL, which one would you choose? Well, what's your goal? I every time will choose MongoDB. But there's a very practical reason for that. Is it's a JavaScript database basically, and I find it very easy to. It's one of the things that you can get up and running in no time. It's also easy to make changes. So if I want to add a array of values, all of a sudden all I have to do is create a schema and then create array, and I attach it to the document, and we're done. MySQL, you have to join tables, you have to create associations, you have to do a lot of different stuff. Now, statistically speaking, there's probably more jobs that use MySQL. Not probably, there are more jobs that use MySQL than MongoDB, but I personally would choose a document-based database over a relational database every day of the week. But like if we were to, and I have a video coming out next week called PHP versus Node, and we talk about MySQL and we talk about MongoDB in there and make a comparison. So you may want to keep an eye out for that. Mega. We'll say Mega next week. So that might help you out as well. I pull up some articles and some job trends and things like that. Kevin, Mr. Cho, give me some. I know you got some Chrome extension ideas you think I should put into my course. I need 3 Chrome extension ideas. I have one that involves the YouTube API, but I don't know that's super relatable to everybody. I want to, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that one. I may do it. I may not. When did I break up with Free Code Camp? I never broke up with Free Code Camp. Free Code Camp broke up with me. No, I'm a big fan of Free Code Camp. I just ran out of content to really do. On their current site, freecodecamp.org, the data visualization doesn't interest me. D3 fucking sucks. Everything that I would do with D3, I'd rather just do in Google Charts or Charts.js. When, a matter of fact, when I had a chart-based project to do, I did exactly that. The turnaround time is much quicker. I love it. So it's less of a learning curve. Also, D3 gives you such customizability, but it never actually has any built-in basic classes. Like most of the time we're doing pie charts, bar charts. We're doing 10 different charts at most. Just build me a basic class so I don't have to deal with this shit. So I'm a much bigger fan of just using Charts.js or using Google Charts. Do you think reading other people's code is a faster way to learn programming rather than writing small projects? No. I think you're just going to read stuff and forget stuff. I think you need to program and code. You're currently working on a QA framework and writing scripts at work. If you want to make my way into front end, if I want to make my way into front end, what should I do? Autofill fake data on a form using Faker. I'll take that under consideration. Let me go ahead and throw that up on the notes here. Doing a D3.js right now. You poor child. You'll beat this. Don't worry. Discuss anything on developing Chrome extensions? We haven't discussed anything. I mean, I've discussed what I've been building a little bit and what I plan on building, and that I will be releasing a short, maybe 30 minutes, build a Chrome extension in 30 minutes guide. And then I'll finish out my course. So right now what I'm trying to do is I have 3 projects. I have 3 and I need 3 more to do what I want to do. So if you guys have any if you guys have any ideas for a Chrome extension project that you would like in a course on Udemy or anything like that, let me know so I can add it to the list. But yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to Free Code Camp's beta whenever it comes out, man. It's just, man, it's been a long process for Free Code Camp and the beta. Are you going through any course or reading any book to get started with Chrome extensions? No, I just read the documentation and started building stuff. Take a screenshot and post it on Slack? What's going on, Ichiro? Saves the debug code? Can you be more specific? What do you mean saves the debug code? Would I suggest any books to learn to code? No. I would say buy courses, watch videos. You'll learn much better. I've never had success with books, and I think they're more or less oftentimes outdated. I'm not a huge fan of them. I would say self-help books, motivational books, those are probably better spent in your time to stay motivated than actual technical books. Some people may disagree with that, and that's a fair statement. But for me, that's always been my sorts of thing. I really should hop on here and start helping Free Code Camp and get this stuff out. Printing out a list of objects, basically templates of useful debugging code. I have to think about that one. Is it JavaScript used to develop Chrome extensions? For the most part, you have to use the Chrome API, and there's some setup that's required with it. When you want to interact with the browser, the tabs, anything that has you interacting with the browser in general has to be going through that. But you do have to load files and stuff like that, and you can do it with vanilla JavaScript. You can inject jQuery, Angular, whatever you want. I'm going to try to stick it with vanilla JavaScript. I heard You Don't Know JS is a good book if you want one. I've read the 2 first books of You Don't Know JS, and they're great. If you're just getting started, for me, I just read it because my coworkers were reading it. But I mean, for the most part, I would recommend courses over books. Courses require a lot more time than books most of the time. But I think they have a lot more value. All right, guys. Any last questions before we wrap up the 4th weekly, Saturday weekly live streams? This has been fun, man. I got to work on this Chrome extension course, though. I also have to finish up. I'm on the last section of Traversing Media's front to back, Angular 4 front to back. My favorite JavaScript course. Would you believe me if I told you that this Angular 4 front to back is my first ever course that I've taken? The rest have been free tutorials and YouTubes. I've never and YouTube stuff, and just building things and learning. I haven't actually ever taken a course before. I would say if you're just looking for a general JavaScript course, Free Code Camp worked for me. Check out their beta also, because they've added a lot of stuff on ES6. Would you ever consider doing videos where you critique other people's portfolios? I add that as a feature on my Patreon. So now that it's on there, probably not. But I did offer to do it in the last live stream. So if you catch me in a live stream for 1,000 subscriber special, I will do it there. But you got to catch me there. Oh. Fucking got cat hair on my goddamn mouth. There we go. What are some good habits to sleep early, especially when you want to keep coding late at night? Code in the morning. I take 750 milligrams of melatonin every night to knock me out because I have trouble going to sleep. Matter of fact, April forces me to take it now because it makes it that much easier. So is it good? Would you recommend it? I almost won it, but got sold instead. It will definitely teach you all the basics that you know. I'm actually going to, I shot Brad an email, said, hey, man, do you mind if I review your course? And I'm going to go and do a detailed review about the pluses, some of the few minuses. But yeah, I would recommend it overall. But I'll have a detailed video probably in maybe 2 weeks. Oh, I'll have a video about it eventually. Aren't you afraid you'll become dependent on melatonin? I'd rather go to sleep. If it ever gets to the point where, so I don't take it on the weekends. During the weekdays, though, April forces me to take it. So if I ever get to the point where I am tired, even though I'm taking melatonin, or I'm not going to sleep, I will stop taking it. I don't take it on the weekends for that reason, to kind of give my body a little bit of a break. Now, if I'm taking it, I'm not getting good sleep, even with it, and I'm not going to sleep, I will immediately stop taking it. But I haven't had that. I've been taking it probably for about 6 months. And it wasn't even my idea. April forced this on me, guys. She's forcing me to take melatonin. As a matter of fact, if I'm working in here at 9 o'clock, normally we're in bed, but sometimes I'm finishing up a video, I'm finishing up whatever it is. April will walk in with a bottle of water and a melatonin pill and put it in my hand, and she'll make sure that she won't leave until I actually drink the swallow the pill, so that she can go to bed on time as well as I can. This is the life I live, man. This is the but yeah, I'm very aware. I traditionally have had a very addictive personality, so I'm pretty aware of when that becomes an issue. But I also have the discipline to stop taking that sort of stuff. So anyhow, guys, I appreciate you watching for the Saturday Weeklies. I will see you next Saturday. I'm going to go work on some Chrome extensions, maybe work on finishing up the Angular 4 front to back course, and I am gonna get back to the grind, man. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure. I want to thank you all for showing up and giving the suggestions and asking questions. Every time I'm here, I get a little bit more intelligent because I get to understand what's going through your minds, and that helps me become more educated. So if you come to my live streams, you'll know that I like to often, when I remember, leave you with some words of wisdom, a final thought for the Jerry Springer fans. And some of you are so young, you don't even remember Jerry Springer. You're like, who is Jerry Springer? Which is a shame. You missed out on a golden age of the 90s with Jerry Springer as a talk show host. You really did. To think that as like an 11-year-old, I was watching Jerry Springer puts a smile on my face. So last question here from TechmoSelf. I prefer using the command line. I've used GUI in the past, but I forced myself to learn the command line recently, and now I prefer the command line. So what do we want to talk about? What was a good topic from today for a final thought? Let's talk about, so a gentleman earlier said, hey, when I finish free code camp, how long after I finish free code camp will I land my job? And I think that's kind of a dangerous way of looking at things, and the way that it's phrased is pretty concerning. When you're diving into something new like software, which you really have to fully immerse yourself in, there are a lot of different things, a lot of different tasks that you have to accomplish. And some people have critiqued me in the past for saying, oh, well, this is just your opinion, man. And that's fair. But I think it's also fair to say that the amount of effort that goes into transitioning your brain to be a software developer is you really are reprogramming your brain. And what I mean by that is you're taking your brain and you're saying, look, I need to think in a certain pattern, a certain way. And I need to not only think that way, I have to then apply these tools and I have to learn. And when you're doing something like Free Code Camp, that's a great resource to get you going. It's a good resource to guide you along, but it shouldn't be your only resource. You need to be doing 10 other things. And some of you may be laughing and some of you may be thinking that's unrealistic, but for you to be successful, you have to be doing Udemy courses. You have to be reading blogs. You have to be watching YouTube videos. You have to be building side projects. You have to be going on Codecademy and doing their courses. You have to be going to meetups. You have to be doing networking. There's a lot of stuff, but in terms of the resources that you're learning, you should never, ever, ever be learning from one resource. I mean, I'm a big believer of Free Code Camp. It has helped me so much in just learning web development and learning to be a better developer. But you should never, ever, ever use a single resource. And honestly, a single resource just You'll run out of time, right? Even free code camp's got a ton of stuff. Eventually you'll burn through it, but you need to be exposed to different thought patterns and different teaching methods, and you need to self-teach beyond belief to be successful long term in this field, or even short term. And you need to be exposed to podcasts with different announcers. You need to be exposed to YouTube channels with different teachers, Udemy channels with different teachers. You need to, as much as I don't like books, sometimes those are best for people. Some people enjoy them. So maybe not books, blogs, where you get a ton of information in different format. And you need to be able to interpret this information and think and what's going to happen is over time, your brain is going to slightly morph and slightly understand, hey, this is how I think. This is how you should think to be successful. And this is how you should think to break down problems, to solve things and build things from scratch, so that when you do get that blank text editor, and you're just going to be, and it's overwhelming at times because there's so many resources on the internet. You're talking about web dev on the web. It becomes kind of crazy, right? But hopefully you can find some good ones. And, there's people like me and other people who will recommend things and guide you to the best of our ability, right? As we have tried to guide ourselves and people have guided us. So what I would say is that if you're only learning from one resource, you're playing a very dangerous game, because you're only being exposed from one source. And what may be important on Free Code Camp, there'll be overlap with other resources, but you may be missing out on things that you had no idea even existed. A good example would be something recent where I showed a coworker a debugger. I showed him, hey, what a debugger is, and he had never been exposed to that. Like, he had no idea what a debugger is, and that's okay. And I'm not trying to pick on my coworker or anything like that, but the reason that you pair program with developers is so that you do learn new things from each other and you do see things from different directions. So, and he's taught me a ton as well, just to throw that out there, in case you're watching. But really what I'm trying to say, guys, is you need to be getting multiple sources, even if some of it's the same information, because there's so much in JavaScript alone. Don't even think about HTML, CSS, compilers, build tools, SaaS-less frameworks, libraries, databases, backend, routing. There's so much that just JavaScript alone you need multiple sources for, so that you can learn as much as possible, and someone will expose you to new things. So if you're only using Free Code Camp, you're at a massive disadvantage. If you're only using Codecademy, if you're only using YouTube, if you're only using Udemy, if you're only using blogs, if you're only using books. So what I would like to leave you with is just understanding that you need to get your information from multiple sources when you're learning. And that doesn't mean you can't have a preferred method or anything like that, but definitely expose yourself to different things. And that doesn't mean do 10 at once. Maybe you're doing 2 or 3 at a time. You do Free Code Camp for a week, and then you say, hey, man, that jQuery course was pretty cool on Free Code Camp. I built some projects. Let me go buy a jQuery course on Udemy for $12. Read up on some blogs. Watch some YouTube videos. Just really hammer it in and learn. And you'll pick up 3, 4, 5 things that weren't covered in that course. But if you never took the time to go to multiple sources, you'll never, ever learn everything that you need to. Because even if 10% is missing out, that could cost you a job. That could cost you from a $10,000 raise. It could cost you everything that you want, and just make you look like a scrub when that one day you can't look like a scrub to get your foot in the door. So I hope that you're taking advantage of all the wealth of knowledge out there, all the wealth of channels. That's why I did top 5 channels, to share some love for these channels, because everyone has a different take on different topics. So you ask me my take on MongoDB versus MySQL, I'll give you a little bit of my knowledge, and you say, okay, well, what does Eric think? What does Brad think? What does Chris think? You can still listen to the same topics. And sometimes you'll find that, hey, you know what? Maybe the main resource that I'm using, it doesn't even work for me all that well. Like, it's great and I'm learning, but this other guy, smaller channel, larger channel, whatever it is, I get what he's saying. He's explaining it, or she's explaining in words that I understand. And maybe after I go, I'll go back to this other resource that's maybe too technical or not user friendly, and I can gain other things. So that's what I want to leave you with, guys, today as my final thoughts. Use multiple resources. You never know what tidbits of information you may pick up. And also, even if it covers some of the same stuff, as it will, as is the nature of learning, you're going to hammer in those pieces while picking up a little bit of the gems along the way. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you all. It has been a pleasure, as always. Join the Facebook group. Join the Patreon. There's other things to join. Join and subscribe if you're watching this for the first time. Like the videos, comment in the future. I put out 3 videos a week, sometimes more, with one live stream on top of that. I'm working very hard on the channel as well as on courses and a book, as I mentioned, and really trying to get my life to that next level. So no matter where it is that you're at in life, my immediate goal right now is to buy property, be a first-time home buyer, something that I never really thought about until recently, and it has become a goal of mine. So saving money and working towards that. And I never thought about it because my main goal was to become a developer, and I accomplished that. And it's a good feeling. So I hope that you accomplish your goals. And I have several goals: become a better developer, and buy a house, and be financially independent, grow a YouTube channel. A lot of these goals overlap, but have a wonderful weekend, and think about what your goals are and how you're going to accomplish them. And using multiple resources may be one of the ways that you get there a little bit faster. So thank you, guys. See you next time. Bye.